The Virgin Mary in the Kingdom of the Divine Will. Appendix.
Magnificat anima mea Dominum,
et exultat spiritus meus in Deo salutari meo,
quia respexit humilitatem mansile sue, ex enim ex hoc beata medicent omnes generationes.
quia fecit me magna qui potens est, et sanctum nomen eius,
Et misericordia eius a progenie in progenies, dimentibus eum,
fecit potentiam in brachio suum, dispersit superbos mente cordis sui,
deposuit potentes tessere, et exaltavit humile.
Surientes simple diponis, et divides dimisit inane,
Suscepit Israel puerum suum, recordatus misericordiae suae.
sicut locutus est ad patres nostros, Abraham et semini eius in saecula.
Gloria Patri et Filio et Spiritui Sancto,
Sicut erat in principio et nunc et semper, et in saecula saeculorum. Amen.
The Virgin Mary in the Kingdom of the Divine Will, by the servant of God, Luisa Picaretta, little daughter of the Divine Will. For private use only. Meditations for the month of May, for the House of the Divine Will. May 6, 1930. Luisa Picaretta. Fiat. JMJ. Maternal Appeal of the Queen of Heaven. Dearest daughter, I feel the irresistible need to descend from heaven to make you my maternal visits. If you assure me of your filial love and faithfulness, I will remain always with you in your soul, to be your teacher, model, example, and most tender mother. I come to invite you to enter into the kingdom of your Mama. That is, the kingdom of the divine will. And I knock at the door of your heart, that you may open it to me. You know, with my own hands I bring you this book as gift. I offer it to you with maternal care, so that in your turn, in reading it, you may learn to live of heaven and no longer of earth. This book is of gold, my child. It will form your spiritual fortune, your happiness, also terrestrial. In it you will find the font of all goods. If you are weak, you will acquire strength. If you are tempted, you will achieve victory. If you have fallen into sin, you will find the pitying and powerful hand that will lift you up again. If you feel afflicted, you will find comfort. If cold, the sure means to get warm. If hungry, you will enjoy the delicious food of the divine will. With it you will lack nothing. You will no longer be alone, because your Mama will keep you sweet company, and with her every maternal care, she will take on the commitment of making you happy. I, the Celestial Empress, will take care of all your needs, provided that you consent to live united with me. If you knew my yearnings, my ardent sighs, and also the tears I shed for my children, if you knew how I burn with the desire that you listen to my lessons, all of heaven, and learn to live of divine will. In this book, you will see wonders. You will find a Mama who loves you so much as to sacrifice her own beloved son for you, in order to allow you to live of that same life of which she lived upon earth. Oh, please, do not give me this sorrow. Do not reject me. Accept this gift of heaven that I am bringing you. Welcome my visit, my lessons. Know that I will go throughout the whole world. I will go to each individual, to all families, to religious communities, to every nation, to all peoples. And if needed, I will go around for entire centuries, until as queen, I have formed my people, and as mother, my children, who would know the divine will and let it reign everywhere. Here is the purpose of this book explained to you. Those who will welcome it, with love, will be the first fortunate children who will belong to the kingdom of the divine fiat. And I, with gold characters, will write their names in my maternal heart. See, my child, that same infinite love of God, which in redemption wanted to use me in order to make the eternal word descend upon earth, is now calling me into the field once again, entrusting to me the difficult task, the sublime mandate of forming on earth the children of the kingdom of his divine will. Therefore, with maternal care I set to work, and I prepare for you the way which will lead you to this happy kingdom. For this purpose, I will give you sublime and celestial lessons, and finally, I will teach you special and new prayers, through which you will commit the heavens, the sun, the creation, my very life and that of my Son, and all the acts of the saints, so that in your name they may infiltrate the adorable kingdom of the divine will. These prayers are the most powerful because they bind the very divine operating. By means of them, God will feel disarmed and conquered by the creature. Confident of this help, you will hasten the coming of his most happy kingdom, and with me, you will obtain that the divine will be done on earth as it is in heaven, according to the desire of the divine Master. Courage, my daughter. Make me content, and I will bless you. Prayer to the Celestial Queen for each day of the month of May. Immaculate Queen, my Celestial Mother, I come onto your maternal knees to abandon myself in your arms as your dear daughter, in order to ask of you, with the most ardent sighs, in this month consecrated to you, the greatest of graces, that you admit me to live in the kingdom of the divine will. Holy Mamma, you who are the queen of this kingdom, admit me to live in it as your daughter, that it may no longer be deserted, but populated by your children. Therefore, Sovereign Queen, I entrust myself to you, that you may lead my steps in the kingdom of the divine will. And as I cling to your maternal hand, you will lead all my being to live perennial life in the divine will. You will be my Mamma, and to you, as my Mamma, I deliver my will, that you may exchange it with the divine will, and so I may be sure I will not go out of its kingdom. Therefore I pray you to illumine me in order to make me comprehend what will of God means. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now and at the hour of our death. Amen. Little Sacrifice of the Month. Each morning, midday, and night, 3 times a day, let us go onto the knees of our Celestial Mamma and say to her, My Mamma, I love you. And you, love me and give a sip of divine will to my soul. Give me your blessing, that I may do all of my actions under your maternal gaze. The Virgin Mary in the Kingdom of the Divine Will. Appendix. The following 6 lessons and meditations were also written by Louisa at a later time and were included in the book The Queen of Heaven in the Kingdom of the Divine Will, published in 1937 under the care of Louisa's confessor, Father Benedetto Calvi. They are being added here below as an appendix, which enriches and expands the 31 lessons of the Virgin Mary in the Kingdom of the Divine Will. The Virgin Mary in the Kingdom of the Divine Will, Day 23, B, footnote 6. This lesson is original from Louisa, taken from a separate handwritten notebook. It expands the lesson of Day 23. Fiat. Day 23. the Queen of Heaven in the kingdom of the divine will. She leaves Bethlehem. The divine fiat calls her to the heroic sacrifice of offering baby Jesus for the salvation of mankind. The purification. The soul to her celestial mother. Holy Mama, here I am close to you to accompany you to the temple where you go to make the greatest of sacrifices, to place the life of the celestial infant at the mercy of each creature, that they may use it to reach safety and to be sanctified. But sorrow, many will use it to offend him and even to become lost. Oh, please, my Mama, place little Jesus in my heart, and I promise you, I swear, to love him always, and to keep him as the life of my poor heart. Lesson of the Queen of Heaven. Dearest child, how happy I am to have you close to me. My maternal heart feels the need to pour out my love and to confide to you my secrets. Be attentive to my lessons and listen to me. You must know that for 40 days now, we have been in this grotto of Bethlehem, the first home of my son down here. But how many wonders in this grotto! The celestial infant, in an ardor of love, descended from heaven to earth. He was conceived, was born, and felt the need to pour out this love. So each breath, heartbeat, and motion was an outpouring of love that he made. Each tear, wail, and moan was an outpouring of love. Even his feeling numb with cold, his tiny little lips livid and shivering, were all outpourings of love that he made. And he looked for his Mama in whom to deposit this love, which he could no longer contain. And I was prey to his love. So I felt myself being wounded continuously, and I felt my dear little one palpitating, breathing, moving within my maternal heart. I felt him crying, moaning, and wailing, and I remained inundated by the flames of his love. The circumcision had already opened deep gashes in me, into which he poured so much love that I felt queen and mother of love. I felt enraptured in seeing that in each pain, tear, and motion that my sweet Jesus made, he looked for and called upon his Mama as dear refuge of his acts and of his life. Who can tell you, my child, what passed between me and the celestial baby during these 40 days? The repetition of his acts, together with me, his tears, his pains, his love, were as though transfused together, and whatever he did, I did. Now, after the completion of the 40 days, the dear baby, drowned more than ever in his love, wanted to obey the law and present himself to the temple to offer himself for the salvation of each one. It was the divine will that called us to the great sacrifice, and we promptly obeyed. My child, this divine fiat, when it finds promptness in doing what it wants, places at the creature's disposal its divine strength, its sanctity, its creative power to multiply that act, that sacrifice, for all and for each one. In that sacrifice, it places the little coin of infinite value with which one can pay and satisfy for all. It was the first time that your Mamma and Saint Joseph went out together with the little child Jesus. All creation recognized its Creator and felt honored at having him in their midst. And assuming the attitude of feast, they accompanied us along the way. As we arrived at the temple, we prostrated ourselves and adored the Supreme Majesty. And then we placed him in the arms of the priest, who was Simeon, who made of him an offering to the Eternal Father, offering him for the salvation of all. And while he offered him, inspired by God, he recognized the divine word, and exulting with immense joy, he adored and thanked the dear baby. After the offering, he assumed the attitude of prophet and predicted all my sorrows. Oh, how the supreme fiat painfully made my maternal heart feel, with vibrating sound, the mournful tragedy of all the pains which my divine Son was to suffer. Each word was a sharp sword that pierced me, but what pierced my heart the most was to hear that this celestial infant would be not only the salvation, but also the ruin of many, and the target of contradictions. What pain, what sorrow! If the divine will had not sustained me, I would have died instantly of pure pain. But it gave me life, to begin to form in me the kingdom of sorrows, within the kingdom of its very divine will. So, with the right of mother, which I had over all, I acquired also the right of mother and queen of all sorrows. Oh yes, with my sorrows, I acquired the little coin with which to pay the debts of my children, and also those of the ungrateful children. Now, my child, you must know that through the light of the divine will that reigned in me, I already knew all the sorrows I was to suffer, and even more than those which the holy prophet told me. Rather, I can say that he prophesied to me the sorrows which were to come to me from the outside, but he said not a word about my interior pains, which would pierce me more, and the interior pains between me and my son. But in spite of this, in that act so solemn of the offering of my son, in hearing them being repeated to me, I felt so pierced that my heart bled, and new veins of sorrow and deep gashes opened in my soul. Now listen to your mamma. In your pains, in the sorrowful encounters which are not lacking for you either, when you know that the divine will wants some sacrifice of you, be ready. Do not lose heart, but rather repeat quickly the dear and sweet fiat, that is, whatever you want, I want. And with heroic love, Let the divine will take its royal place in your pains, that it may convert them for you into the little coin of infinite value, with which you will be able to pay your debts, and also those of your brothers, to ransom them from the slavery of the human will, so as to make them enter as free children into the kingdom of the divine fiat. In fact, you must know that the divine will is so pleased by the sacrifice wanted by it from the creature that it gives her its divine rights and constitutes her queen of the sacrifice and of the good that will arise in the midst of creatures. The soul to her celestial mother. Holy Mamma, in your pierced heart I place all my pains, and you know how much they afflict me. Oh, please be my Mamma and pour the balm of your sorrows into my heart, that I may share your same destiny of using my pains as the cortege of Jesus, to keep him defended and sheltered from all offenses, and as the sure means to conquer the kingdom of the divine will and make it come to reign upon earth. Little sacrifice. Today, to honor me, you will come into my arms, that I may offer you, together with my Son, to the Celestial Father, in order to obtain the kingdom of the divine will. Ejaculatory Prayer. Holy Mamma, pour your sorrow into my soul, and convert all my pains into will of God. You have reached the end of Day 23b, Appendix, of the Blessed Virgin Mary in the Kingdom of the Divine Will. Fiat.